Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we watched everything the Muppets were up to between December 9th, 1977, and January 30th, 1978. And that includes the Season 2 episodes of The Muppet Show featuring guests Zero Mostel, Rudolph Nureyev, and Judy Collins. And we also watched an episode of Storybook Squares, as well as a clip from the Bob Hope All-Star Christmas Comedy Special, and a behind-the-scenes segment that was part of a documentary series called Vision USA. I was wondering, this was such a big, almost 2 months worth of time in the schedule, and I realized that it's because the Muppets apparently took a huge break between the Zero Mostel episode and the Rudolph Nureyev episode.
They took a little vacation.
Yeah.
I don't think they did that last year.
I think they took maybe a couple weeks, but this is over a full month off.
Lazy Muppets.
Before we get talking about the Muppet Show this week, though, I wanted to point out that we've been in 1977 for a while here, Sam.
Uh-huh.
We've spent 9 of our 33 episodes talking about 1977.
It's going to be that way for 1978 as well.
That is
and
very
79.
true. Yeah. When it comes down to the Muppet Show, we were spending a lot of time in these individual years.
Yeah.
But, how you feeling about this vow, this commitment, this podcast? We haven't checked in a while, and I feel like the end of a year is a good time to check in.
I got to tell you, I'm a little excited to get to another place where Jim doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Because it's like, the Muppet Show is good, but it's kind of funner to talk about, this didn't work at all. This was a huge piece of shit, than it is to be like, this was a perfectly serviceable episode of The Muppet Show. This batch has some weird stuff in it that was fun to watch. But I kind of miss watching 5 hours of commercials.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat where I'm not surprised by The Muppet Show, whether it's good or bad or offensive sometimes. Yeah. It's not necessarily surprising at this point, and I think I miss that sort of early commitment, getting surprised by something I've never seen before, or finding something absolutely delightful like the Jimmy Dean show that we knew existed but didn't know how amazing it was. But I feel like with The Muppet Show, we know that it's good. We've watched The Muppet Show before, and so yeah, I think I am weirdly also excited to move beyond The Muppet Show.
Yeah, we watched it all coalesce into The Muppet Show, and I'm excited to watch it all fall apart.
Well, we've still got 3 seasons of The Muppet Show to get through.
Well, yeah. I'm just excited for Dog City, you know?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Fraggle Rock because I watched Fraggle Rock a lot as a kid, but have no very clear memories of it. So I know that there's anything I go back and watch now, there are very deep messages coming out through it. And I'm like, I didn't get any of that when I was a kid. So I'm excited.
You were a little stupid asshole.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, look at these dummies living underground. But now I'm
get a house, Fraggles.
But yeah, I'm excited to go back and actually see the lessons and go, oh, okay, maybe some of that did seep into my little child brain.
Sure, made you the man you are today.
Thanks, Fraggle Rock. But yeah, one last little thing before we get into talking about this week's stuff. I wanted to note that it's exciting to see that the Muppets have been popping up some more places recently. Kermit and Piggy were on The View recently during Halloween week.
What were they talking about? I didn't watch it.
It seemed like they were mostly there to promote Muppets Haunted Mansion. And they sang a very shortened version of Life Hereafter together, which was interesting that we got a version that was Miss Piggy and Kermit, which is not how it is in the special, obviously.
That's weird.
Yeah. And they sing 4 lines of it and then wrap it up. It was very clearly we want some songs, but we don't have that much time. But yeah, it was a cute little thing where they're just on there talking about how they dressed up as each other and Halloween in general. And one of the hosts of The View says something like, so one of the big themes of your special is facing your fears. And Miss Piggy keeps going our special had a theme? Who knew?
Did they confirm or deny anything about their relationship?
They did not. I don't even think they were actually asked about it this time, surprisingly.
Now would be the time to ask them.
Yeah, it's like,
they
well,
dressed up as each other.
You broke up on the 2015 show, and now it seems like you're dressing up as each other, so what's going on there?
Come on, ask them the hard-hitting questions, please.
But speaking of more Miss Piggy singing, she also appeared on the Queen Family Sing-Along on ABC.
What is that?
They did a night where a bunch of people sang a bunch of Queen songs, and it was a sing-along because there was like lyrics going across the bottom of the screen, so I guess you're supposed to sing along at home.
They did like a Disney one of these, right? A long time ago?
Yeah, and this
like
is...
last year, I guess. Not a long time ago.
Yeah.
Last year.
But it had like JoJo Siwa, Fall Out Boy, Pentatonics, of course. But
always.
They have to be there. I think they're contractually obligated to do any show. But yeah, Miss Piggy sang a crazy little thing called Love with a country singer named Jimmy Allen, who I did not know existed before
Sounds fake.
this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. It was fun. It was a little cute little thing to see Miss Piggy singing.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched just her part, and then I also saw Fall Out Boy's performance, but I did not watch Pentatonics.
There's no way you didn't watch Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only other one I watched.
You are the Fall Out Boy, after which the band is named.
That's me. Well, before we get too far off the rails, how about you tell us what we watched this week, Sam?
It's Christmas time in New York City. It's December 7th, 1977, and you've just gotten home from doing your shopping. You turn on your TV, and you see that star of stage and screen, Zero Mostel, on The Muppet Show. While Sam Eagle is trying to make the show classy for an ungrateful Zero, Kermit is struggling to find money for the payroll. He has Scooter call his uncle, J.P. Gross, to see if he'll float them some cash, and he will under one condition. The Muppet Show must feature lady wrestlers. He puts out a call for wrestlers, and an old lady shows up calling herself Granny the Gouger. Kermit can't find another lady to wrestle Granny, so he puts on a wig, gets in the ring, and gets his ass completely kicked by Granny, who in turn gets her ass completely kicked by Piggy, and the show is saved, I guess. Standout moments include the Electric Mayhem performing Chopin? Is that how you say that?
Chopin!
Yeah. In their own unique way, to Sam's complete disgust, Zero reciting a spooky poem about his various fears, which manifest around him as frackles and monsters that are like popping out of different places in his study. And the lady wrestler backstage plot is pretty cute, if maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity. I was kind of excited to see various Muppets in wrestling outfits, you know?
Yeah, we get the Kermit one, but we don't see anybody else, which would have been, a good idea. I didn't even think about that.
And the Kermit one was quite good.
Yeah. Him dressed up as Miss Mask, I think, is great. And I think, if we had seen Gonzo and Scooter and Fozzie, like, dressing up as wrestlers.
And I think I was surprised that Piggy wouldn't do wrestling. I kind of thought she'd be like, all right, I could see that working for me.
Well, so I think there's an important thing to highlight here is that at the time in the 70s, women's wrestling, and the way you can kind of tell from the way they talk about it in this, was really looked down upon as sort of... like
softcore pornography.
Yes,
sort of.
It was sort of perverted, and it was also like not only looked at it that way, but that's the reason it was performed some places. Like it was supposed to be like sort of like you'd see like later in the 90s of like Jello and like mud wrestling and stuff. It's sort of how it was viewed as like, oh my god, it's so perverted to watch these two women touch each other and wrestle. Now let's go watch the big sweaty men do it, and that's
but
like, not sexualized at all.
Shirtless men, no.
But so yes, I think. Until things like Glow, the real life Glow, not the show, started to happen in the 80s, women's wrestling was sort of this like carnival sideshow thing, at least in America and the UK. In Japan, they were already taking it really seriously by the 70s. If you want to, anyone out there, read a book that's really good about the history of women's wrestling, there's a book called Sisterhood of the Squared Circle, and that will go through sort of those like earlier times of the way people viewed women's wrestling and sort of how it evolved over the years.
Matt, I gotta tell you, there is no circumstance under which I would want to read a book, unfortunately.
I mean, like, not only is recommending a book to you pointless, but also recommending a book to you about women's wrestling. That's why I started off recommending it to you, but quickly it was like, you know what? I'm going to recommend this to the audience instead.
No, that actually sounds really cool. I like books. I read a couple. I've read a couple.
Cat in the Hat.
What the fuck? You can't make fun of me. Only I can make fun of me.
I don't think that's how this podcast works.
Well, Zero Mostel is probably best known from the movie The Producers in modern times, not back then. Well, maybe back then too, I don't know. In which he played one of the producers. And he had already had a very long stage career and film career by 1977. He originated the role of Tevye? Is that how you say that? I haven't seen Fiddler on the Roof in a long time. In Fiddler on the Roof. And he would go on to die like 2 months after this episode premiered.
That little summary took a
It's true.
big turn there at the last moment. But yes, he is our first, I think, posthumous Muppet Show guest here. Who
he is?
I mean, the only one who died before the show came out.
Oh, he died before
Yeah.
his episode
He died in September 77. And this came out in December
I read
77.
That wrong. I read September 78. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
Yeah, he died.
I was going to say a lot of them are dead now, Matt.
No, if you look up, it's a really sad story of like how he died. It was sort of like self-starvation a little bit. He went on a very, very extreme diet to lose like dozens and dozens of pounds. Right around the time he was doing the Muppet Show, actually. And over a course of a few months, he sort of made himself incredibly unhealthy. And once he was like near the end of that, he was having heart problems and lots of health issues that he could not recover from. And so that's why he ended up dying in September 1977. But
That's
yeah,
really sad.
it is wild to like watch this, knowing that between June 77 when they filmed it and December 77 when it aired, he had died.
Well, anyway, next in chronological order, we watched Storybook Squares, one of a series of special episodes of Hollywood Squares, wherein all the contestants dressed and acted like storybook or historical characters, and also Big Bird is just there, being himself.
He's got sunglasses.
He does have sunglasses. I suppose there's a man inside of Big Bird pretending to be Big Bird, so it works.
Yeah. It is weird that he's the only, like, not a person playing a person, really.
Well, they have the real Frankenstein as well, so. The contestants are two teams of families, and they are terrible at Hollywood Squares. I was so mad at them. The biggest highlight, for me at least, is Paul Lynde, who you may know as Uncle Arthur from Bewitched, or as Templeton the Rat from the 73 version of Charlotte's Web. He's playing Frankenstein in this, and he is just really cute as Frankenstein. He can't keep it together. The whole thing is total chaos. You can't understand what anyone's saying. Everyone's shouting. There's amazingly loud sound effects that play the whole time, and they're so long too. And I think someone smashes a bottle on Paul Lynde's head at one point.
I think he has, like, in front of him, he has all these, like, lab beakers and stuff. And it seems like at some point somebody grabs one of those and smashes it over his head. So,
And they must be sugar glass.
I
'Cause
would
think
hope
right
so.
after that he smashes another one with his fist.
yeah.
I hope so, or else he's on some shit. Because, yeah, I think it maybe is Florence Henderson who smashes it over his head.
That
too.
kind of
I'm
makes
pretty
sense.
sure.
She's playing, like, a really, like, boozy character who's wild.
Yeah, and
so.
she's sitting right next to him. So I don't even think they play 2 full rounds of Hollywood Squares.
The best
I
thing
think
about
they're
these
just gonna
old game
give
shows
up.
is that the games just end whenever they're out of time, no matter like where they're at in the game. And the host is suddenly like, ah, shit, we got to hurry up. Finish this up. You get a car. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know, like, there's 4 members of both families and only 2 of them show up. It's great. It's fun to watch. And the clip we watched is hosted by Elvira because it was on Game Show Network, like back when cable kicked ass and there was stuff like that all the time. So that was good. Then next, that same day apparently, at night, you could watch the Muppets on the Bob Hope All-Star Christmas Comedy Special. They're all there, but mainly it's about Miss Piggy, who's making an appeal to Bob, or Roberto as she calls him, to take her with him on tour and save her from the uncouth Muppets. Bob acts like he will do that, but then he starts saying, like, you're going to have to do my laundry, you're going to have to cook my food, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that he's doing that, so she won't leave because he would feel too bad breaking up the Muppets act. He thinks they're a great family. Then they all get together and sing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, because it's supposed to be Christmas, and there is no indication of Christmas aside from that part at the end. Back to the Muppet Show, which I guess, like we mentioned before, took like a month off, because now, all of a sudden, it's January 23rd, 1978, and ballet dancer Rudolph Nureyev? Okay, thank you. Joins the Muppets. I've never read a book, so I don't know how to say any names, Matt. So Sam, in a plot that is basically the same plot as the one he had for Zero Mostel's episode, has the theater and all the Muppets looking real classy, and he assumes that Rudolph will like this and that he is also a classy man. Unfortunately for Sam, Rudolph isn't really all that classy, and the Muppets' attempts at doing classy acts are also not very classy, so the whole night is a big tacky disaster as far as Sam is concerned. Standouts here include the pretty good theming of the acts. I appreciated that they did this. There was a reasonable attempt to make most of them classy to some extent. Another highlight is the Electric Mayhem doing basically the same thing they also did in Zero's episode, where they're playing a piece of classical music. This time they're trying really hard to do it right for Sam. The first time they weren't trying at all, but Animal cannot handle it, and he starts to rock out, as is his nature, and the whole band goes with him because they can't help it either. There's also a sort of fun opera act where Link and Piggy kind of find like a cool groove where they're doing like a Wayne and Wanda thing, and they're trying to like one up each other, and they're ruining the act by both being like completely pompous. And it did make me think that I don't really like Link, but I do like the fact that he's like a male Piggy. I think that's a fun little character for him. So they're doing like the Wayne and Wanda thing, but it's a little bit almost better than Wayne and Wanda ever did.
Yeah, there's more interesting like of a dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah, because they're like not in love, and they can hate each other, and they can be meaner to each other and hit each other in the face with stuff. There's also a really good veterinarian's hospital where all the jokes are Shakespeare jokes. I like that. Rudolph Nureyev, did I say it right that time?
Yes, you did.
Your Highness. Okay. Was an extremely well-respected Russian ballet dancer and one of the first high-profile artists to defect from the Soviet Union. Maybe the first high-profile artist. And so he did a whole lot of ballet and was apparently one of the best to do that ever. But I don't know about ballet, so I'll just leave it at that.
He was like the most famous ballet dancer at this time in the world. So This was a very big thing for him to be on the Muppet Show.
I doubt there's been a lot of other really famous ballet dancers since then. So he could still be the most famous one.
He could. I honestly don't know either.
Finally, on January 30th, 1978, singer Judy Collins was the Muppets' guest. Backstage, Scooter's uncle, J.P. Gross, finally shows up in the flesh. He is appraising the theater because he's thinking of tearing it down and turning the whole thing into a junkyard. Kermit has Scooter try to appeal to his uncle's humanity, but once JP promises Scooter a job, the little rat thing switches allegiances instantly. Fortunately, by the end of the show, JP decides it's cheaper to just wait for the theater to collapse in on itself rather than tear it down, thus granting a stay of execution to the show. Highlights here are, I think the backstage plot is good, and I do like Judy Collins. I think she's good with the Muppets, but the acts are almost all more weird than good, and there are two particularly frightening ones. The Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly and Send in the Clowns, that I think we'll probably talk about later. There's a nice Rolf and Judy duet, but I don't know, it's kind of a weird one. Judy Collins is a singer and also a pretty cool activist from Wikipedia's point of view. She was fought for abortion rights, against gun rights, all that kind of stuff. She testified in the Chicago 7 trial, and she had recorded Send in the Clowns a year or so before this episode, so that's why she sings it in this, and it was a big hit for her. We also watched a very short documentary-type segment from... What is it called again?
Vision USA, which was apparently, so this is a monthly news magazine style television program. That was
almost exactly what I wrote, that it was probably some kind of Weekend Digest news show.
It was produced by the United States Information Agency. Which sounds
propaganda.
sketchy as hell, yeah. Between the show ran between 1972 and 1979 to show life in America to foreign audiences.
Oh.
Be like, look how great America is. We have puppets.
Yeah, probably beam it to the USSR and be like, you guys can't see the Muppets. We got Rudolph Nureyev on here. Wow. We took him from you and gave him to the Muppets. So this little thing is kind of cool. It goes behind the scenes at the Henson Workshop. This is like the first behind the scenes look we've gotten, not ever maybe, but in a very, very long time.
This is the best behind the scenes look we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Like actually showing them working on puppets and working on voices and trying to like find some characters and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of the footage is of them working on Emmett Otter stuff, building puppets and doing voices and rehearsing for that. Making little costumes for him. So there's lots of cool shots of that. It shows Jim's really cool office with his like Bert and Ernie stained glass and all of his doodads, which is cool. It shows him being a very important businessman and being like, well, I've got to tell Don this instantly. And also they call him a young man. And he's 40. So if that's a young man, then I have hope for myself.
You're still a young man, Sam.
Yeah. It says young man and it shows his wrinkly ass face. It's like, clearly. clearly not a young man.
There's a point in this early on where the narrator says one of my favorite things ever about the Muppets. He's like, not puppets, not marionettes, and certainly not people, but a happy combination of all three.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that mean?
I guess by people he means the human arm inside of
I
that.
guess, but like just
He's
like it sounds like he's trying to tell you like, don't be worried. These are not people.
They're not real. They're not alive. It's like how Homer describes the Muppets. Not quite a mop and not quite a puppet.
Yeah.
But combine the two, no boy.
I also found that a weird thing I didn't realize I had a problem with. At one point, they're doing like a table read, and Jim is sitting there doing Kermit's voice, but he does not have the Kermit puppet with him.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It is weird. And he sounds a little off, too. It's kind of like, ugh, what's going on?
I don't like looking at Jim's face when I'm hearing Kermit. I like having Kermit to look at.
Yeah. Because you could look at his face the whole time he's doing an interview with Kermit, but you just never do. Yeah, it does seem weird. Like, if he was talking to himself without the Kermit puppet, like he does with the Kermit puppet, that would be deeply unsettling, like a Gollum type situation. Anyway, the end of 1977 and the start of 1978 was boring, so that's all I got.
And yeah, that Vision USA thing, I couldn't find an exact date for it, actually, so it aired sometime in 1978. And there's a couple other things that happened during this time, or just generally in 1978, that I wanted to bring up real quick before we start talking in detail. In December 1977, December 29th, 1977, the Muppets once again appeared on Dinah, the Dinah Shore show that we watched a brief clip from previously, but this time it was Big Bird that appeared, as well as Carol Spinney on screen with Oscar the Grouch, and there were other guests there as well, one of which was Richard Dawson, who had gone from being on Hogan's Heroes to like hosting Family Feud around this time.
He was on Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah. And that was important because during the interview between Dinah and Oscar, apparently Carol, as Oscar the Grouch, turned to Richard Dawson and said, like, how are things on Hogan's Heroes? And apparently that led to Richard Dawson telling a very, very long anecdote, which ate up the rest of Oscar's interview time.
Oh, I wish we could have seen that.
Yeah.
Sounds funny.
Apparently that story comes from Carol Spinney's memoir, which I am going to be ordering soon because multiple times during research this week I found things of like, according to Carol Spinney's memoir, he thought this person sucked. And I'm like, ooh, cool, can't wait.
Do you think Richard Dawson sucked?
Well, I think he was just mad at him for that specific like instance. And I was also reading something about an interaction between him and John Ritter where John Ritter was like ripping feathers out of Big Bird as a joke.
Oh.
And Carol Spinney did not appreciate that.
No, that's rude.
And also sometime in 1978, the Muppets did even more things with Bob Hope. They were on Bob Hope's salute to the 75th anniversary of the World Series.
So stupid. Why?
Apparently, Hope asked Kermit to join his baseball team in this little sketch they do. And Miss Piggy is there acting as Kermit's manager and makes a bunch of outrageous demands, including $300,000 for the season, limousine service to the ballpark, caviar and champagne between innings, fresh flowers in the dugout daily, and a hairdresser for his agent.
Oh, that sounds funny.
And the sketch ends with Bob Hope suggesting football instead of baseball and kicking around the old pigskin.
Uh-oh.
Which
Piggy was really good in the Bob Hope segment.
Yeah, I agree. I
liked
think
her
Frank
a lot.
Oz, anytime he has to like interact with a celebrity off of the Muppet Show, I feel like he gets to like sneak in some like edgier jabs that he wouldn't do on the Muppet Show.
Or on Sesame Street.
Yes,
He does
exactly.
the same thing when he's being Grover or Cookie Monster.
Yeah, it always works really, really well. A few other things that happened in early 1978, and these all come from Jim's Red Book, which is the blog that's posting Jim Henson's journals with like context and stuff. On January 10th, 1978, there's an entry called Interview Steve Whitmire and Wendy M. And so this is the first time Jim Henson would interview Steve Whitmire, who was like 18 at the time.
Are we going to see Rizzo soon?
Not for a while, but Steve...
Okay.
So, yeah, Steve Whitmire goes on to be Rizzo and Bean Bunny and Kermit eventually. And Carol Spinney met Steve Whitmire. Guess where, Sam?
At a puppet convention.
Yep, at a puppetry festival, and encouraged him to contact Jim Henson, who was looking for Sesame Street performers at the time. But instead of Sesame Street, Jim decided that Steve should go over to London and join the Muppet Show cast. So I think in season 3, Steve Whitmire joins the Muppet Show cast, but he's like a background performer for a while before he actually gets like a main character.
we'll start hearing some voices that make us go, hey, that's Steve Whitmire.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Like, is that Bean Bunny? And then related to this, the Wendy M part of this entry. The previous December, so December 1977, Jim received a gift from Michael Frith, which was a exquisite, in this quoted, exquisite Japanese-style marionette made by a young artist recently moved to New York named Wendy Middener, or Midener. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. But Wendy Middener would eventually become Wendy Middener Froud, because she would go on to sculpt a bunch of characters for the Dark Crystal, where she would meet her husband, Brian Froud, who's the artist who Jim worked with on this. And she would also go on to work on Labyrinth as well, which starred their child, Toby Froud, as the baby who gets kidnapped.
The little baby.
The baby who is now
weird.
also working on the newest Dark Crystal series for Netflix, and also made his own like puppetry short film.
That show's canceled, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And she would also be known as the mother of Yoda, because she was on the design and sculpting team for Empire Strikes Back.
The mother of Yoda.
Right?
That's a cool title to have.
So yeah, I guess we have a lot to like. This
You know who the father of Yoda is? Jim Henson.
That's not true. Also, in January 1978, there's an entry that says, Brian Froud comes to New York to live and work, has first series of meetings on Froud film. So this is obviously, we referenced before, they are starting work on the Dark Crystal because Jim Henson saw Brian Froud's illustrations and was like, I want to work with that guy on something. And so they've been trying to figure out what it's going to be. And apparently, with this entry, he's pointing out that Froud moved to New York at the start of 1978 to begin working on what would become the Dark Crystal. And during this little week here, Jim hosted a series of meetings with his team, brought in Wendy Midener, to work with Brian Froud in translating his designs into 3D and begin thinking about what sort of story they could set in the world they were creating. So they're pretty much like making a cool looking world and was like, now what do we do with it?
What year does Dark Crystal come out?
82.
Wow.
So we still got 4 more
They're
years.
cooking this baby for a long time.
Yeah. And the one last thing that we didn't get to watch, because I don't even know if there was a televised portion of this, in January 1978, The Muppet Show won the DAR Award.
The Daughters of the American Revolution?
That's the one. The Mary Washington
I know that from
Colonial...
Gilmore Girls.
Same. That's the only reason I know it, too. The Mary Washington Colonial Chapter of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution awarded Jim Henson their Television Award of Merit for The Muppet Show. And this was apparently, for some reason, the first non-historical program to be honored.
What? Why? Somebody just really liked it?
I guess. They would later go on to like give this award to people like Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and stuff like that. But this was the first time that a non-historical show got this award for some reason.
Lorelai Gilmore the first was just like, oh, I love that Muppet Show. We have to give it to the Muppet Show.
That's all canon.
If you're listening, Mary Beth Sherman Palladino or whatever your name is. Mary Sherman Palladino?
Nope.
Is that her name?
What
is it?
Amy Sherman Palladino.
I was really, really close.
You said Mary Beth.
You know, I'm still hung up on this. It's pointless to recommend me a book thing. I read books.
You're the one who said you didn't read books.
I'm going to read this book about Japanese wrestling, okay? Sisterhood of the Squared Circle.
That's the one.
I'm going to my local library right now. I'm going to check it out.
I think that's where I got it from, so.
I'm going to prepare a book report for you.
Ooh, exciting.
And 6 months from today, we'll be ready.
So getting into the Zero Mostel episode of The Muppet Show, I put down, my first note is, Zero has Frasier / Mr. Feeney voice. And that he seems like he could be British, but he's not.
Mr. Feeney's not British?
No, he's from Boston, you boob.
Does he say that in the show or something?
Yeah, that was a quote.
Okay, you're not just continuing to be cruel to me?
No, at one point...
I didn't read the Mr. Feeney book. I'm sorry.
At one point, Eric says something about him being British, and he's like, I'm from Boston, you boob.
Yeah, he's got the mid-Atlantic accent.
I think it's something about these guys who were, like, classically trained in the art of the stage, who just, like, have that sort of thing to them. And so I feel like, yeah, like, these guys are very, like, East Coast guys, raised in this theater life, just kind of have that gravitas to their voice. But yeah, I only knew Zero from the producers. Like, that is who he is to me. But obviously he was very famous for Broadway stuff before this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't alive back then to go see plays. So
I also know him from The Muppet Show. That's one of the other main things. I could have sworn he was the guy in Fiddler on the Roof movie, but he was not.
I mean, I think he set that, like when he's the first person to take on the role on Broadway,
Right.
it's sort of like everything after that is going to be based on him.
Looking for a Zero Mostel type.
Right.
Yeah.
Which his son would go on to be the creepy principal in Billy Madison. Who
I had never seen Billy Madison.
interesting. Not worth it probably at this point. Probably doesn't hold up very well. But yeah, it was like interesting that like it was one of those like looking up somebody and their son has a Wikipedia page. It was like, oh, what's this? And I went and looked. I was like, oh, all right.
Is that like his most notable role?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't look that far into him. He wasn't on the Muppet Show. I don't care. But yes, we have a weird pairing of episodes in these first two where it's kind of the same plot and it opens with the same thing, and it's Sam wanting the show to be very cultured and nice. In this first one, it's not really because of Zero Mostel, but it's mostly just because Sam is tired of the show not being cultural.
But he does go in and apologize to Zero for it not being cultural.
That is
right?
true. Yes, and I like
He
that.
assumes Zero would like it to be cultural.
Yes, which I guess if you have like this man of classic theater, you'd assume that, and I think the same is the same plot line with the Rudolph Nureyev episode, where Sam is assuming that these guests are much more classy than they actually are.
But with the Rudolph Nureyev one, that's like the A plot. This is kind of a B plot, and I had forgotten about the lady wrestler thing until I went back through and like read the Muppet Wiki, But it's like they took this, they were like, oh, it was kind of fun to have Sam Eagle want it to be classy, and then they just went and made a whole episode about it. And then somebody accidentally played those two right next to each other, and they shouldn't have.
Yeah, because they were produced like 10 episodes apart or something like that. But obviously in New York, they aired back to back.
I suppose it could be seen as a little story arc for Sam. He's in all three of these episodes trying to push classiness, actually.
Yeah, we get some pretty good Sam throughout this. There's a specific thing in the Judy Collins episode that I liked, even though it's very, very brief.
Yeah.
But in the Zero Mostel episode, it opens up with Zero Mostel being eaten by Behemoth.
Yeah.
Which was a very nice little... there's a lot of these that open up with the guest is in their dressing room and the monsters are attacking them for some reason.
Are being killed somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
They shouldn't let the monsters go in that dressing room.
No. But yes, we get the opening number is Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem performing Chopin's Polonaise in A flat. And this one is, it's not straightforward because it's the Electric Mayhem, but it's mostly disrupted when Animal just starts yelling, Chopin, Chopin.
Yeah, I really liked this.
Yeah, same. I think overall this episode really, really worked for me. I like Zero Mostel a lot. I think against all odds, he works with the Muppets. Like, I feel like at times he is actively trying to disrupt and ruin the show, but I think somehow it still works out.
He is a living Muppet in many ways, I would say. His mouth can do some weird shapes, too.
Well, and his eyes, too. He's got, like, a lot of control over his eyes bulging out. And
he's got a wig that he uses as a prop. Yeah, he's a human cartoon man. It's very good. And you liked it because you like wrestling.
I mean, that's so, like, small of a plot, and wrestling is treated so poorly in this episode that didn't really even register to me.
Okay.
Because, it seems like wrestling is something that they all look down upon, and I was like, all right, that's whatever.
True. Kermit looks down on everything, though.
That's true.
So
apparently, even his employees, because in this episode it is revealed that it is payday, and apparently to pay everyone, all he needs is $27.
Well, that's better than an episode last season where he said that no one was paid anything.
Well, to be fair, I think just Fozzie wasn't getting paid in that episode.
Oh, okay.
So maybe Fozzie is the only one who didn't negotiate a great deal, and he's getting zero money.
True. He's taking advantage of his literally oldest showbiz friend and connection, with which he couldn't have even done any of this because he wouldn't have had a car. His bike ran over instantly. But I did not. So you liked Zero Mostel. I did as well. I did not like this what the simple folk do thing that happens after the lady wrestling thing.
Interesting. You didn't like that?
It went on for so long.
That I do have that in my notes. That it's nice to see Featherstone back playing the Queen here. Featherstone actually performed by a woman this time. In this sketch, Featherstone, who's not Featherstone, is just a queen, but is the same puppet as Featherstone used to be, is being performed by, and again, I'm going to mess up a name. I apologize. It's either Rashenda Carey or Rachenda Carey. She is one of the women who were being auditioned this season to be hired by the Muppets as their one woman that they're allowed to hire, apparently.
One woman only.
Yep. And she was the first of the three in like production order that was brought in, and she only does the voice for the Queen, does not actually do the puppeteering. And then, yeah, that role would obviously be filled later on. Louise Gold would be the woman that they would hire in this season. But Rashenda Carey was the first woman to come in and audition for this part.
Then they were like, it's looking a little too lady-y in here. We got to get a little Stevie Whitmire in here.
Yeah.
Balance it out.
But I do agree that this went on way too long. I enjoy the first 30 seconds to a minute, and I enjoy the last 30 seconds of it as well. But there is a middle section there where they do another verse of a song where I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
it's not over.
This is still going, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. The prop work is good. That food on the table is quite strange, and I couldn't figure out if it was real or if it was wax or what was going on with the food.
Well, because especially at some point, they have a dog there that is a halftime real dog, other times puppet dog, and at the very end,
Muppy, right? Is it Muppy?
I believe it's Muppy, yeah. But at the end, Zero Mostel puts the giant rack of ribs down on the floor for the real dog to start eating at. And I'm like, is that dog getting just a giant slab of ribs? Or is it just a wax thing that's got some dog food smeared on it or something?
He also jumps over the real dog at the beginning, and that was scary.
That dog could have moved a little bit and he would have squished it.
He doesn't look like a guy who can jump very high either.
I was a little afraid for that dog that he was just going to step on it, because don't just jump over dogs. That's not, if you're going to take one thing away from this episode, don't jump over dogs.
Unless you jump really far over the dog and you get some good air.
But even then, that dog could move with you. You could land on the dog. You can't predict what that dog's going to do.
You could Goomba the dog.
Oh, no.
Squished, and you aren't going to get 100 points. You're just going to get a squished dog.
The At the Dance this week is for some reason all about tennis.
Oh, I hated it.
I also didn't love it. The only part I liked was there's two tennis balls that are dancing together, and they're like, what did you do today? And he's like, I was stuck in court.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't like that their eyes were on their backs of their bodies, like they were dancing butt to butt. I thought that was weird. They didn't need eyes, personally, I don't think.
No, but
Also, are tennis balls weird colors in England? These tennis balls were white. They were not yellow.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, and I don't know if that's a 70s thing. Is that a UK thing? I don't really know. But yeah, all these tennis balls were white. And maybe it was a green screen thing, but I don't think At the Dance is done on a green screen.
Probably, I wouldn't think so.
But yeah, it ends with a Crazy Harry bit. He shows up because somebody mentions that they need to use a bigger racket, and he's like, is somebody saying they need a big racket?
Everybody should have been like, that's a real stretch, Crazy Harry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think you need to explode this time. We didn't say bang or boom. And he's like, now you did it. But yeah.
That would have been funny, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, when I'm in the shower or whatever, I just think about us punching up Muppet Show scripts. That would have been so fun. I think we would have been good at it.
I think so. We have some pretty good ideas here.
I think so as well, man. I think you have great ideas. And even though you think I'm a buffoon who's never read a book in my life.
I'm pretty sure you were the first one to say you never read a book.
That's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. And we could go back and forth on it.
So we could roll back the tape and listen to who says that you don't read books first. And I'm pretty sure it was you.
Guess who controls the tape, though, Matt?
You could just edit that out.
Say whatever.
Oh, no.
People listening don't even know what really happened.
We have, there's a running gag throughout this episode that we haven't talked about yet, where Statler and Waldorf are, instead of watching the Muppet Show, they've decided to watch TV up in their balcony.
Right.
And at one point, they're watching Beach Blanket Frankenstein.
Very good. That would be a great movie, I think.
Yeah, it sounded like something that was exactly up your alley. When I was like, oh man, I wish that was real so Sam could watch it.
Oh, it's like Munsters Go Home, I think. Herman Munster surfs. So that's basically probably the same movie. That might be not Munsters Go Home. I don't remember which one it is. But anyway.
There's also a point with that running gag where they turn the station to a channel and they see two old men watching TV in a balcony. And they're like, who would watch this? This is so boring.
I think that should have been the end. I didn't like the actual end where they're getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
That was kind of weak.
Yeah, because, TVs don't really electrocute you if you touch a wire wrong. We then get a Muppet Labs segment. This is technically the first appearance of Beaker in production order, the first time they used the Beaker puppet, but we've obviously seen him before on some other episodes. And this one's a weird one.
Kind of a weird first skit for Beaker, huh?
Yeah, because, obviously we've talked about the fact that, Beaker is usually getting punished by either, a cloning spray or an invisibility cream, or he's getting shocked on his nose.
Is there a cloning spray, really?
Yeah, there's a couple times I think Beaker gets cloned. But in this one, Bunsen invented magnetic carrots, which apparently serves some purpose.
Well, it says on Muppet Wiki that they're perfect for storing on the ceiling of your refrigerator.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the inside of a refrigerator is not magnetic.
Not that I know of. I don't think they've ever been like steel or
No,
anything.
they have to make refrigerators magnetic just for fun. They aren't just naturally magnetic somehow.
But yeah, at the end, the downside of this invention is that steel rabbits can show up who are attracted to magnetic carrots and need to murder Beaker in order to get to their delicious carrots.
They need to murder Beaker. Is accurate. And then one comes out and murders Beaker.
Yeah.
So he was right.
And I think Steel Rabbits is a great name for a band if we ever decide to form a band, Sam.
Oh, yeah. That is a really good name. Well, I feel like it would be a steel drum band for some reason.
I was thinking like 80s metal or something, so
Oh, okay.
we can mash up those two.
Oh, okay.
80s hair metal with steel drums.
No, I want to be a band like Jesse and the Low Rollers or whatever they're called. What's Uncle Jesse's band
Jesse
name?
and the Rippers?
Yeah. We should just be a Jesse and the Rippers cover band called the Steel Rabbits.
Play the most boring rock music ever and occasionally get to play with the Beach Boys.
Yeah. And wear really tight, very light blue jeans. My dream.
Next, we get the thing we alluded to earlier, where Sam is going back to hang out with Zero Mostel in his dressing room and apologize to him about the show not being super cultural. And during this, every time Sam turns his back, Zero Mostel is mocking him, sometimes threatening violence against him.
Well, not just mocking him, wielding a gun in his direction, and also going to hit him on the head with a hammer.
Yes, and I do. It's very odd that at one point when Zero Mostel is pointing a gun at the back of Sam the Eagle's head, when Sam the Eagle turns around, Zero Mostel's cover for this is to put it into his own mouth.
Yes.
And Sam does not bat an eye.
Sam's fine with this, unfazed.
Like, oh, okay, of course, you just got a gun in your mouth in the dressing room. I shouldn't be concerned at all.
Like a good American man would.
But yeah, I think this is one of those where it just shows like Zero Mostel's like sort of, again, at odds with the Muppets at times, because this humor here is going like really big and really counter to a lot of Muppet stuff. But for some reason, it just works.
It's good. I'm glad he didn't actually kill Sam. That would have been sad.
Yeah.
I think the Muppets would have been a little bit horrified if he had been murdered.
If he just got shot in the back of the head by Zero Mostel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just picturing that scene and the assassination of Jesse James by the coward, whatever that name of that movie is.
Yeah, sure.
That like ending scene, spoilers, I guess, is in the title of the movie. But he's like standing facing like the wall and
He's like adjusting the picture.
yeah, like waiting for it to happen behind him. And that's what I'm picturing now is like Sam Eagle and Zero Mostel in that scene. You're welcome for that 12-year-old reference, everyone.
Yeah. It's a good movie. You should check it out.
Yeah, it's beautifully shot, but no pun intended.
It's also 7 hours long, so be prepared for that. Then in the next part, I was almost sure that the very tall granny that showed up earlier was just like a weird one-off Muppet they picked for some reason, but finally it's revealed she is not.
She's Granny the Gouger. She's the wrestler. She's here to beat up Kermit. After that, we have Zoot and Rolf hanging out, playing some music, and I thought this was going to be just another, like, playing some music for a couple minutes and hanging out. No real story happening here. But then they're playing Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and slowly, smoke starts to billow out of Zoot's saxophone and make them both cough and hack up a lung.
Yeah, okay, so with these, I wonder sometimes, how often do people know the piece of music that they're playing? Like, yeah, I assumed it was Smoke Gets in Your Eyes because it was smoking, and I didn't bother to look it up or anything. But for people like, I don't even know what Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is. I know they mention it in a Cake song, and that's my extent of my knowledge of that song. Did you know what it was?
No. It's like an old standard for a musical called Roberta, which stars Bob Hope. So
I think they sang it before, maybe.
No. I mean, maybe. Again, like a lot of these songs show up multiple times or on Sesame Street and different times. But yeah, my big takeaway from this was, do we think Zoot's saxophone might be a bong?
He engaged bong mode on his saxophone accidentally partway through.
He hit his favorite key on the saxophone. He was like, uh-oh, sorry, Rolf.
Rolf smokes pot too, though, for sure.
Oh, I could see that. Like, Rolf's one of those guys who, like, just chills at home smoking pot and, like, doesn't act any different whether he has smoked or not. And you're just like, he's pretty freaking cool. He's hanging out with Jimmy Dean, smoking weed.
Yeah, but Zoot gets high and he's just like
he's
sits
gone
perfectly still for hours. Yeah.
Yeah, they are a very different high, I think. Next, we have a very good Zero Mostel poem, I guess. Mm-hmm. He is reading Fears of Zero, which is, based on like just watching it, at first I was like, this must be like an Edgar Allan Poe thing. Like it feels very Edgar Allan Poe. Like it feels like a classic thing everyone would know. But it was written by Jerry Jewell, like for this episode.
That's cool. It also feels like timepiece type, like, or like TikTok sick, like anxiety, fever dream kind of thing that Jim likes too.
Well, and with it ending with him realizing that like he is actually the figment
Also
of the imagination.
Yeah.
Which freaks out Timmy Monster when Zero Mostel just disappears. He's like, the hell's going on?
I killed Zero Mostel. Oh, no.
That's revenge for Sam.
But it was very good. I loved the set and all the creatures popping out of it in different places.
Yeah, he had like a Vincent Price level of like creepy commitment of just like, I'm leaning into this so hard. Yeah. And yeah, I really like, that was the sketch that really made me go like, Zero Mostel, you know what? You did a good job this episode.
Yeah, and it has some good like puppetry concepts too, like with the monsters going away really fast and coming out of places. Which sometimes like there's a few in this batch of episodes also, as there have been in the last batch, where they're doing more in-camera special effects that I don't think, that feels to me like not the point of the Muppets.
Do you mean like when they like cut away and then cut back and the Muppets different?
Yeah. Or they just like do a fade. Like Zero Mostel fades away. That's fine. But I think it's like there's the one where the guy only has half of everything.
Right.
Like half a beard and stuff. And he doesn't like get it stuck to his face. They just like cut away and then cut back. But this one has more of the like puppet special effects where they're kind of like growing out of places they shouldn't be. And I think that's really cool.
We then have Animal playing a drum solo where the drum just bursts into flame at one point before he can finish his song. And this is one of a couple times I was actually very worried about puppets this week.
That fire's quite large.
Yeah.
And there's a few quite large fires.
Yeah, there's a few times that puppets are interacting very closely with fire this week, and it's concerning.
I wonder if they wear like any kind of glove or something beneath the puppet when they're doing fire stuff, or if they're just like, this animal could be melted in my hand forever. We'll see, I suppose.
And yeah, then the episode ends with the lady wrestling, which is Granny the Gouger taking on the mysterious Miss Mask, played by Kermit in drag.
Yeah, he looks cool too. He looks good with the little mask on.
Yeah, he's got his little wig. He's got his little like Zorro mask on. This ends with Miss Mask being thrown into Statler and Waldorf's balcony, which Miss Piggy, then you mentioned earlier, gets upset and comes out and karate chops Granny the Gouger to end the episode.
I feel like there must be somebody in the Muppet writers' room who likes wrestling, because this is like the third wrestling skit we've gotten in the like 3 years, maybe.
That's true.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a thing too where they probably built that ring for sex and violence back in the day, and they're like, well, we have a wrestling ring. And yeah, the episode ends with Zero Mostel coming out amongst some Muppet monsters. Kermit says he has joined their ranks. Apparently he's been accepted as one of the monsters.
Yeah, I kind of wish it had ended with an acknowledgement of the payroll thing. I want to see how that all shook out.
Yeah, there was a note on Muppet Wiki that this episode was originally written by a writer as like a pitch, like a spec script to try and get a job. And the plot line revolved around the Muppets going on strike because they were not getting paid.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, and so I think that was there originally in the concept, and so they left in some of that, but then not enough that it made any sense. So yeah, I think it is weird that just kind of disappears.
Maybe Kermit pocketed all the money from the wrestling match.
Yeah, but at the very, very end, we get Zero Mostel chomping down on Sam the Eagle's nose.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Sam the Eagle is scolding him.
He's probably not supposed to do that.
It didn't look like a thing that he was pre-approved to do, because he full-on puts Sam the Eagle's beak in his mouth and just hum. But it did remind me of, I think that's when you talk about wanting to like boop or crunch on Rolf's nose. I think this is what the Muppets would be afraid of.
He's known the divine pleasure of chomping a Muppet that few have.
And I think it's like,
Interesting.
if the Muppets ever hear about your wishes, that's what they're picturing you're going to do to Rolf. Is just,
No. Just teeth.
just like,
Very lightly.
just to get to like the feel of it, to like know if it's hollow or squishy.
Yeah, I just gotta know.
What if it's just
But he
solid
knows.
wood?
That'd be disappointing, actually.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's rubber.
There was no give to it at all.
Gosh. Well, now I really have to know. What if it's chocolate?
Ooh. Man.
What if it's a 75-year-old chocolate?
But what if then you're going to like permanently damage Rolf? He'll have teeth
Worth
marks in
it.
his nose.
Worth it. I don't give a shit.
Next up, chronologically, we watched Storybook Squares, which we talked a lot about already, so we don't need to touch on it too much. But very chaotic, very hard to hear at times.
Why didn't they pick the middle square ever?
They-
Why do you not pick the middle square?
Yeah, you mentioned that they're bad at Hollywood Squares, but they're just bad at the like basic concept of tic-tac-toe. They don't block each other, they don't go for the win. There's
Oh my god, that
multiple
one
times.
kid, the kid has a win and he picks the square next to it. For
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
And
then the lady,
it's so bad.
well, the lady's like, the question is like, is there something you can hang on the door to keep away vampires? And the lady very confidently is like, no.
Yeah.
And then the little girl's like, what are you talking about? It's obviously garlic. And then they like are clearly having like a tense conversation with each other about that horrible answer.
Because it
Oh
lost
my
them a
God.
car. Like,
Yeah. It's fucked completely. That little girl was really good at Hollywood Squares, and her mom was terrible at it.
it seemed like her mom had maybe not watched the show before, because the mom
Yeah.
was just like listening to little girl and just saying whatever she wanted her to say most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it's a very weird thing that I can see why it wasn't like happening all the time and why it was a pretty limited
Yeah.
run. Because those sound effects, they would just like hit a sound effect. Anytime they would mention a character, they had a sound effect attached to that character. And for certain ones, it would just keep going while they're asking a question and answering a question, and you can't hear anything anyone is saying, and all of a sudden like the buzzer goes and you're like, I guess they were wrong. I don't know why or what happened, but something bad happened.
There's one point where Big Bird also like doesn't understand the question he's asked, and he's just like, "Can I have another question?"
And they let him. I was like, I didn't know that you
Yeah.
could do that.
I don't think you can, but I guess they were all very confused.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, like they show like a family double dare setup where at the beginning there's like 4 family members sitting there, and then they send most of them away and just have one of the little kids there, and they bring in one parent each for the second round, and then the other family members are just never seen again.
No, and I don't know, like I don't think they came back in the next episode. Probably.
I think
did they?
sometimes they did with Hollywood Squares, but I think like I think it was like the winning family gets to come back, sort of like Jeopardy, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well.
as you mentioned, there are some delightful little character pieces in here. We see Connie Stevens and Florence Henderson and some other Muppet friends. And we have Paul Lynde playing Frankenstein's monster. And he's like one of the few who's like really committing. Like him and Florence Henderson are really committing to the bit.
Oh, Florence Henderson's cool in this. She's some Wild West like
Annie Oakley
brothel owner
bartender,
lady
yeah.
or something. Yeah, and she's like mean, and you can't understand what most people say.
No, it's a shame
their
because I feel
jokes.
like they're being funny, but I can't understand what
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
saying.
And you can't tell who they are because it's so blurry, and because everyone's screaming and you can't hear their names. But Paul Lynde is so funny because he like tries to be Frankenstein for like 4 seconds, and then he like does his big stupid smile.
Well, because he's like also
I
trying to
love
like give the joke answers as Frankenstein, and you're just like,
Uh-huh.
If anyone, it's actually a weird timing that worked out, but because Elvira also shows up sort of in this,
Yeah.
talking about Paul Lynde. In the past, I had recommended Matt Baum on YouTube because he did a video all about Richard Hunt and about like his work with the Muppets. But in the past couple weeks, Matt Baum did a couple more videos, one about Paul Lynde and another one about Elvira. So if you want
What the hell?
to know more about either of those people,
That's cool.
go check out Matt Baum's YouTube channel.
Oh, I'm sure they're both very fascinating.
Yeah, he
'cause
talks a lot
those are
about Paul
both
Lynde's
very
Halloween
weird
special that
people.
he did in the 70s, which is...
Have you seen that before?
No, but it looks so
It's-
chaotic.
Great. It kicks ass. It's so good.
We also watched the appearance of the Muppets on the Bob Hope All-Star Christmas Comedy Special. This skit was taped during the shooting of Bob Hope's Muppet Show episode, so they like taped that just because he was hanging around, I guess.
Is he on the Muppet Show this season or next?
He's in our next batch of episodes we get to watch.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh.
My favorite thing.
That's interesting. I think I found him very stiff so far every time we've seen him.
I think he has that Johnny Carson thing where he is like, yeah, the puppets are here. I know what to do with these guys, and then he kind of doesn't.
Yeah. Sometimes I see these old guys and I'm like, I think if I had been born in the 40s, I could have been famous in the 60s. I think I could have done it.
I could be Mike Douglas.
Yeah.
There's a few things that stood out about this for me. One, during the intros, we get to see that Mark Hamill was apparently on this special.
Yeah.
And also, quote, this is what they say, Bob's special friend, Perry Como.
I thought that was so funny. It's like they're married.
Yeah.
His special friend.
Yeah. I feel like Perry Como is like everyone's special friend in the 60s and 70s, though. It's just like Julie Andrews,
like,
special friend.
The guy everybody says is just, like their uncle, but it's just the guy that they're all having sex with, every single one of them.
It's the guy they don't actually like invite over when other people are over, but they'll call him up on a weekend to be like, hey, Perry, how's it going?
Perry Como is everyone's special friend. That's beautiful.
Bob Hope also refers to the Muppets as the wild, wacky world of woolen wonders, which I liked a lot. I think that, along with the definitely not people, are like two of my favorite descriptions of Muppets that we heard this week.
Well, and Bob Hope a couple weeks calling Jimmy Henson.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's like
nobody knows what the Muppets are.
No, it's like they're aliens to him. He's like, you guys heard of these Muppets? What are these things? Are they towels? Are they bath mats? Or are they people? I don't know. But yeah, there's it's nice to see like sort of all of our like main Muppets kind of show up throughout this with Miss Piggy and Gonzo and all them. But there's one line in this that confused me.
Okay.
He's talking about like bringing stuff on the road and having Miss Piggy work for him, and one of the things he says he needs to bring is his toaster. For his Pop-Tarts.
Because you never know when you're gonna want to pop a tart.
Yep.
That confused you?
That line. Is that like from a Pop-Tart commercial, or is that just like...
No, it's just funny. That's what they do. You pop their Pop-Tarts. You pop them. You pop a tart.
I mean, you say that like as if that's a thing everyone says, but...
Me and Rachel laughed so hard at that part because it's just like a stupid thing to say. I think that's all.
Okay. I didn't know if there was supposed to be more to it.
No, I don't think there is.
I also didn't know if there was like a sexual innuendo, because like a tart...
No, I guess there could be, but I'm pretty sure it's just... I think it's just a fun thing to say.
Okay. I'll accept that. We also, I think, talked as much as we need to talk about the Vision USA special, but that was, again, sometime in 1978 that happened. It's worth a watch because I think it does give some interesting little behind-the-scenes highlights, but it
shows a really cool horse with like this internal mechanism that like makes its head turn. It's neat.
Yeah, and we get to see a little bit more of the behind-the-scenes of how some of the remote control Emmett Otter things worked as well.
Yeah, rowing the boat.
Yeah.
That was cool. His big 70s like joystick controller thing.
Yeah.
It's like NASA made that.
It does look very, very complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can watch that on YouTube, or you can also, apparently it's on the United States Information Agency's website, which is now, I think, attached to C-SPAN or something like that. You can find that full episode of Vision USA, which is like 26 minutes long or something like that, on their website. And so it's slightly better quality on their website than it is on YouTube, and there's like no watermarks, but it's harder to track down and get to.
It ain't bad on YouTube.
No. All right, and the next episode of The Muppet Show that we watched is the Rudolph Nureyev episode. Apparently, this episode was a really big deal because he was so famous. And I know this has been said in interviews like multiple times about multiple episodes, so who knows what to trust. But apparently in the Jim Henson The Works book, Jim Henson talks about how this is the episode that really got people excited to come on the show. Like, the fact that Rudolph Nureyev would come on the show made other celebrities go, oh, shit, you got Rudolph? I'll come on your show.
What the hell? Why was a ballet dancer so famous?
I think he was much more famous than we're giving him credit for.
Well, I mean, probably defecting was a big thing everybody in the whole world knew about.
Right, yeah.
Which is not like probably the only reason he was famous, I'm sure, but very interesting.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this is a 99% perfect episode for me.
Yeah, I really like this one too. I can't even remember what parts I did. I think the finale is the part that falls flat for me the most. But yeah, I think this is a 99% one as well.
Yeah, there's a Miss Piggy sketch that is troubling that we'll get to. as well. But overall, I think this is a really, really strong episode, and this is like one of those I would recommend to somebody, like if you have not watched The Muppet Show and want to get a good vibe of what it is, this is a good one to go and watch. Maybe skip the Miss Piggy sauna scene.
Well, you know what? I like that part.
All right.
Everybody, I'm an apologist for that song.
I mean, okay, so let's skip ahead a little bit then. So this is a scene where Miss Piggy is trying to seduce Rudolph Nureyev. They're in a sauna together in a steam room, and Miss Piggy is singing Baby It's Cold Outside. And the twist here, obviously, is because it's warmer in the steam room.
Because it's warm in the sauna, yes.
But this involves, like, her trying to pull his towel off and, like, actually harass him. And it's one of those things where, yes, I understand, like, the defense of the song, Baby It's Cold Outside. There is a defense that can be made there because it is not explicitly tied to as creepy of things as people have talked about it being tied to. Still can be a little creepy at times. But this is like, let's make it creepier by making it the fact that Miss Piggy won't let Rudolph Nureyev leave.
Okay, well, sure.
So, I think, like, the song already has, like, this, like, context attached to it now in the world. And so to, like, have the song that you immediately hear and go, uh-oh, and then to have it be in this context of Miss Piggy not letting a man who is gay leave this steam room, who is not interested in you at all, Miss Piggy, please leave him alone. And he wants to get away from her so bad that he Kool-Aid Mans through the wall.
He sure does. He Roger Rabbits right out of there.
Yeah. So it is not the song inherently that I have a problem with. It is the sketch itself, and I felt icky after watching it.
I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think it falls a little flat because it's not fancy like the rest of it. Like that's the only skit in the whole thing that doesn't try to be like a classy thing. And it's so not classy because it is sexual assault in a sauna that it's kind of stands out for that reason to me. I was like, they could have had him ballet dance one more time. He only really does it once.
Apparently, Rudolph Nureyev really wanted to work with Miss Piggy. Like, that was like, they asked him, like, well, what do you want to do on The Muppet Show? And he's like, I want to work with Miss Piggy. I want to dance with Miss Piggy. And they're like, well, you can't really dance with Miss Piggy. She doesn't have working legs. So we'll give you a duet with her, and then we'll build this amazing pig suit for another dancer that you can dance with.
Very scary face on this pig suit,
little bit.
though. But let's go back to the start.
Yeah. The one small thing at the very, very beginning of this episode that I really enjoyed, we don't talk about this much, is like Statler and Waldorf, their little joke during the theme song, usually because it's largely forgettable. And this one I liked that they were just sitting there going, da, 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 da. Like they're just like singing along with the theme song.
Kind of presaging the callback that will be part of the theme song eventually, too. They seem so bored of this version of the theme song. They biffed it on this one.
You mean the Muppet people or Statler and Waldorf?
The Muppet people.
Okay.
They got to go back to the drawing board on this theme song. Even Statler and Waldorf know it's boring.
At the beginning of this episode, we have Kermit looking backstage, and everything's covered in flowers, and everything's all apparently fancy. This is everyone's wearing tuxedos and is really ready for this culture-filled episode featuring Rudolph Nureyev.
Because Sam made him wear tuxedos, but Sam was wearing a sleeveless tuxedo.
Yeah, there's varying degrees of fancy dress in this episode that I really, really enjoy. And yes, Sam's, I guess, sleeveless so his wings can hang out tuxedo is great.
I don't think it would have looked weird if they had given him sleeves, but whatever.
Those just would have been like very, very large sleeves that I think they were like, no, it's easier if we just let his wings hang out.
I also love that he thinks that Rudolph Nureyev is an opera singer.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know who he is, which is such a great like little wrinkle in his character that he is a complete moron as well.
Yeah, he's a fraud. Else. Like Sam the Eagle wants everyone to believe that he is very, very well read and he like knows all these things about opera and ballet and all these things, and it's just like all a fraud. He's just like faking it.
A very good line. Yeah. You know what? I like Robin now.
Ooh,
I can't help myself. I might have to go back and re-rate him because Robin and Scooter together, my heart just instantly melted. I was like, oh, come on. Scooter and Robin's the cutest duo you could possibly have.
Yeah, we get Robin in a top hat, and the only top hat they could find is too big for him because it's like a Kermit or a Scooter-sized top hat, and Robin is a very small thing.
It covers his whole little body up.
Yeah, he looks like Fozzie's agent that we saw before where it's just his feet sticking out of the bottom of a top hat.
Yeah.
But yes, then we get another attempt at culture using the Electric Mayhem playing a classical music number, which again, interesting that these are back to back, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. But this time they are playing Minuet in A major, and this one fits in a little bit more with like the Electric Mayhem we come to know and love, where the idea is that they are struggling to try and play it normal, and Animal is gonna lose it because he can't just play calmly. And Floyd has a very good line where he's like, "Animal's gonna lose it, man, and if he goes, I'm going with him."
I love that too. That was a very good Floyd line.
Again, this is like the refined version of the previous episode in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they clearly were just like, oh, we could do this better.
Yeah.
And then they did.
After this, we find out that Rudolph Nureyev is still not actually there. He hasn't shown up yet. And as soon as he does, Sam the Eagle insults him because he assumes he's like a young hippie punk and kicks him out of the theater.
He's got a leather jacket on and he looks cool.
I mean, when he walks in and immediately just like unzips his jacket, he's like, "I'm here, fellas," and it's like, who are you? Calm down." So I guess I would understand, but again, it just like shows that fraud part of Sam's personality, that he thinks this guy is an opera singer. He probably assumes he's like this 60-year-old man or something, and so when this young punk kid shows up who's probably like 40, he's like, "What are you doing here?" We then get a number entitled Swine Lake, which is, I think, really a highlight of this episode, because we see a fantastic costume pig suit that is worn by a ballet dancer that is dancing with Rudolph Nureyev. The performer here is Graham Fletcher inside of that costume, who would do other dancing and stuff for the Muppets throughout different years of the Muppet Show and stuff. But yes, this is, I don't know. I love that costume so much. It looks so real is a weird way to describe it, but it looks very convincing with like the arms and like the legs and everything. You can tell like are very, very well sculpted.
Yeah, and I think like for some reason, a lot of Muppet Show episodes do not like. I love that this one builds to the thing that he does best, but also adds like a Muppet bent to it. And for some reason, a lot of episodes do not do that. I think like the Zero Mostel poem is sort of the same thing. Like he's monologuing with a Muppet wrinkle to it. And it's so cool that they like, because I feel like season 1, they might not have even let him ballet dance or something. Like
those are the two like wrong directions they take it in sometimes. Like either they're like, you can't do the thing you're famous for, or you can do the thing you're famous for, but no Muppets get to be around.
No Muppets allowed, yeah.
And I think we sort of get that vibe more in the Judy Collins episode that we'll talk about. But I feel like this is the perfect way to thread that needle, is do what you're famous for, but Muppets disrupt it.
Yes, and it works so well, and her face is scary, but she still looks great. She just has like Judge Dredd mouth, you know? Like, a really big frown.
Well, and her eyes are like this sort of like frozen in a sad look kind of thing that most of the time they kind of look closed as she's dancing around, but occasionally they'll get like a straight on shot and you're like, don't want to look right into those. But yes, it also alternates between a dummy of the pig and the person in the costume, so that Rudolph can throw the pig around like Rita Moreno did in her first dance sketch. But yeah, I think overall that one just works incredibly well, and I think it shows that like this is a guest who came to play with the Muppets in their world and like do what makes the most sense for the show.
Definitely like one of the best sketches we've seen so far.
And next up we have the UK spot for this episode, which is a whatnot Muppet who is missing half of his hair on one side of his head. He's wearing half glasses, half a beard. Things in his room are all missing, and basically he's singing a song called Something's Missing about how when he is not near his love, things are missing, and he's it's a sweet little number. That like I don't know. I didn't have anything like there was nothing wrong with it.
It is like what we talked about earlier though, where they should have slapped the hair on him in real time, and I think that would have that's like the joke that they would have done in the 60s when they were in front of a live studio audience that they just don't do anymore, because it's like, are they not thinking about it, or it's just easier to do it the other way so they don't do it? Because his hair just is like there between a cut. But if they had hidden them applying the things to his face quickly, then it would have been more like, I see the point of even doing this. It's kind of lost, I guess, if you don't do that.
Yeah, we get a lot of the cutaway reveal things happening, like not just in this batch of episodes, but lately in the Muppet Show season 2, we get a lot of that sort of like, oh look, they're different now, and it's like, yeah, but you cut away, you just put up a different puppet. It's like, it's not as cool or as interesting as like a puff of smoke and then you put up a different puppet. Like I know we've seen the Beautiful Day monster shrink in puffs of smoke, and different characters get their faces blown off and stuff, and it's like all in camera and very impressive when it's done. So these are, I guess, less impressive. That's like, okay, cool, you built 2 puppets, good job.
I just think about the original Beautiful Day where you don't even really notice he's shrinking until...
Yeah, it's very
so
subtle.
Cool.
And next, we get a veterinarian's hospital that was had the seal of approval from my wife, who is a Shakespeare. She got her master's in Shakespeare, and she said this is great. So I agree.
Terrific.
This has her approval as a good work, reflecting well on Shakespeare.
Well, they're in England, so they could just open the window and be like, "Hey, what's some Shakespeare stuff?" And then everybody in the street shouted up to him.
Yeah, I think my favorite is "Alas, poor pork."
I liked when he was like, "It's Shakespeare," and then Janice is like, "Looks more like bacon to me."
Yeah, it's very good.
Took me a little while to get that one.
Yeah. And they do a worse version of that joke, I think, on the Florence Henderson episode or something, when they have the little debate show they used to do. There's a joke about Shakespeare and bacon.
Man, that debate show sucked.
I'm really glad that's gone.
I hated that
Yeah,
shit.
it was bad. But yes, I think it's a very, very good veterinarian's hospital. A lot of times when they choose a theme, sometimes they like stretch it a bit thin, like when they had the shoe-themed veterinarian's hospital.
One, yeah. There have been a few weak veterinarian's hospitals lately, but that was a good one.
Yes, this one's great. And it's followed up with another Shakespeare joke from Statler and Waldorf, where we find out Statler says he was a student of Shakespeare, and Waldorf says, you were a student with Shakespeare.
I could see that one coming, but that was even better.
And then Robin is the one who comes out and gets to introduce the sauna sketch because Kermit has been beaten up by Miss Piggy.
He's trying to get the spiked heel marks off his throat, is what he says.
Yeah.
Then there's that debauchery, which Matt won't even deign to talk about again.
We can talk about it again.
No, we don't have to.
Next, we get a delightful pairing that we don't see very often, which is Fozzie and Rolf. In a little musical number. Rolf starts just playing Clair de Lune on his piano, and Fozzie shows up to help him out because Fozzie realizes he forgot his candelabra, and so Fozzie wants to help him out and be a nice little stagehand, but he's just really, really disruptive.
He can't light it, and he gets a blowtorch.
Yeah, he tries to use matches. Those aren't working, and so he settles on a blowtorch, and this is the other fire near Muppets being terrifying.
Yeah. You shouldn't have fire near a Muppet.
It's like Fozzie is actually holding a working blowtorch.
Yeah.
I think this does highlight, though, that, it feels very reductive to even say this as if it's a new concept. But Jim Henson and Frank Oz are real good together, huh?
They're good. No matter what characters they're being, they're great together.
Yeah, like I know I had that thought during the opera number with Link and Miss Piggy again as well, where I was like, oh man, like Jim and Frank just work so well off of each other, no matter like what two characters they are being. Like we get a lot of Sam and Kermit throughout this batch. We get this good Rolf and Fozzie. We get the Link and Miss Piggy. Like we get a lot of really good Frank and
They
Jim.
even switch who like the straight man is in different situations. It's so good.
Yeah, I enjoy Fozzie trying to be helpful in that. Like Rolf letting him, like not really being like, dude, you're screwing this up. Like he's just like
they gotta let him because he lost his regular spot as the comedian.
That's
so
true.
they have to be nice to him.
Yeah, he doesn't have much to do these days.
No. I do miss those a lot. I wrote that in my thing when I was watching Statler and Waldorf and I was being bored of them. I miss that, not like Fozzie being on stage and them fighting with each other. That doesn't happen ever anymore. And that was one of my favorite parts of the first season.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get some of that because I know like, a lot of these things come in waves where it's like, okay, we won't see the Swedish chef for a while. And then, hey, there he is again. So I'm sure we'll have some more Fozzie popping up sometime soon. But this episode ends with a big old musical number where they're singing Top Hat, White Tie, and Tails in a very big Broadway-type number with a bunch of very fancy-looking Muppets.
Yeah.
My favorite...
And Menomina.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite is Menomina, who just has the tie and top hat, but no tuxedo. And Nigel's there as well, hanging out and singing along. They all look great. I don't know. Like, I like seeing Fozzie and Rolf and Gonzo all in their white ties and top hats. They look very nice.
Oh yeah,
and fancy.
Fozzie looks great in a tuxedo. I think I have an action figure of Fozzie in a tuxedo.
And then the number ends with Rudolph Nureyev murdering all of the Muppets.
Shooting all of them. He's pantomime shooting them with his cane, but it's making real machine gun noises, and they are falling down dead as he shoots them.
Yeah.
It is very bizarre.
He starts offing them one by one, and then all of a sudden at the end, he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to take them all out.
I don't know why he does it. It's not... I don't know.
It is, I think, a very smart move that, like, immediately after that, they cut to Kermit coming back on stage to, like, thank Rudolph Nureyev to be like, look, he's not dead, I promise.
I'm not dead. I was not blown away.
But yeah, that is the Rudolph Nureyev episode. I think overall a very, very strong episode of The Muppet Show.
Definitely.
Which is, again, like, I think a lot of the ones I enjoy the most are usually people I am familiar with in some way, like Dom DeLuise. And so when there's a person popping up that I have never heard of before, I'm always a little bit hesitant to be like, is this one going to be any good? And I was pleasantly surprised by this one. Next up, we have, airing on January 30th, 1978, the Judy Collins episode of The Muppet Show. A couple things to note about Judy Collins. I guess one thing I have written down here. She apparently hit number 1 on the Billboard Bluegrass charts for the first time in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, she put out like a Christmas album, like a bluegrass Christmas album or something, and it was the first time she's ever hit number 1 on the Billboard charts. It was just a couple of years ago.
That's wild. Are you familiar with her? I'm not really familiar with her.
Not really. Like, looking her up, like, obviously she was involved in a lot of progressive politics of the 60s and 70s, and she was, like, hanging out with a lot of the famous folk singers. So I think it's, like, more surprising that I haven't heard of her. But, yeah, she is here doing her folk music thing all over this episode.
She sure is.
And it opens up with her singing in Florence Henderson's Weird, Creepy Forest.
But she actually has Muppets, at least.
Thankfully, yeah, not just butterflies. She's hanging out with a bat, a woodpecker, and an owl. The same owl we saw in a previous Muppets Show episode, who also popped up, we forgot to mention this, in Emmett Otter. He's in there for a second. But yeah, she's singing Leatherwing Bat to a bat and a woodpecker and an owl who... I don't know. This episode overall kind of did not a lot for me. And this...
No, I don't really have anything to say about any of the acts, basically.
Yeah, anything
except
with...
Pigs in Space, which was a nightmare.
Yeah. Anything with Judy Collins in this episode, like, literally almost put me to sleep. Because they seem like very, like, childish kind of songs, and were very slow, very folky, not a lot of jokes happening while she's singing them. And so, like, literally this morning I was rewatching parts of this episode and yawning. And I'm like, I just woke up. I can't already be getting tired again because of this episode.
Well, she's singing like lullabies, I guess. So
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
The one standout to me from that Leatherwing Bat sketch is the woodpecker puppet. I really like the way he's designed. And we saw him previously in the sketch where the bird locks his owner in a cage.
Oh, yeah.
But
I liked this one. Of all 3 of the ones she does, I liked this one. Because I liked the animals. They were kind of funny. They were like, well, what the hell does that mean?
She also does 4, Sam. She's all over this episode.
She does 4?
Yeah.
Oh, but the one with Rolf is good. So it's okay.
But yeah, next up, we get to see J.P. Gross, as you said, in the flesh, which kind of grossed me out when you said it. To imagine...
He's a very fleshy man, though.
He is a very fleshy, human-looking man, which raises some questions about Scooter's ancestors here. Of like, I
don't like the way he looks. I think he's very generic looking.
He does look like a 90s Muppet, a little bit.
Yeah.
Of just like, they just throw him in there. But I think they were just going for like generic old businessman, and I think they pulled that off pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't show up a lot. This is like, I think, his biggest appearance in an episode, but I think he pops up a few more times.
But yeah, it is weird he doesn't look more like Scooter, I guess.
Yeah, especially because like so many like Sesame Street Muppets and later on other Muppets just look like them in a wig, or at least resemble them a little bit. And so, like, I don't know, maybe Scooter looks like his mom and this is his like dad's brother or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And next we get the most outright sexist pigs in space we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Which again adds a little bit of fuel to the fire of my idea that this is like misogynist wordplay pigs in space.
Yeah, this one I started looping back around to thinking maybe you are right.
But again, based on the ending of this sketch, if that is the goal, they're doing a horrible job of making fun of that concept and instead are just
teaching any kind of lesson or anything.
Right, they're just leaning into being terrible to like one of their very few female characters.
I don't even remember what the end is. He pushes the wrong button.
The idea in this one is that Dr. Strangeborg is like, we need to do a mid-course correction maneuver. And Miss Piggy asks Link, can I push the button this time? And he's like, well, I don't know. You are a woman. And she's like, but I went to school for 11 years to learn how to push this button. And he's like, well, but you are a woman. And she's like, yeah, I get that, but 11 years I went to school. And they start arguing and bickering about that, so much so that they pretty much miss the cue for when to push the button from Dr. Strangepork. And then Link is like, I'll take care of this, and pushes the wrong button. And so Piggy ends up being right, but they don't necessarily, like, focus on that, I think, enough to make it worth this, like, outright just, like, Miss Piggy saying she went to school for 11 years to learn how to push a button, and Link still doesn't trust her because she's a woman.
But also when he says she can push the button, she starts kissing him.
Yeah.
That was not good.
Yeah, no, she gets very flirty because when he says, like, but you're a woman, she's like, yes, just as you are a man. And it's like, oh, gross.
It sucks. If I was Miss Piggy, I wouldn't refuse to be in this sketch anymore.
Well, that's why I think this is one of the few times I most wholeheartedly agree with Sam the Eagle, who appears immediately after this sketch, comes out, and just disassociates himself from the show based on the previous sketch.
Yeah, fair enough, Sam. You're right.
Yeah.
Even he can't stand for sexism in the workplace.
And then we get Judy Collins singing I Know an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly. And while she's doing this, there's a shadow puppet version of the old lady in a little window on the corner who's actually swallowing all of these things and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until she eats the horse.
Distended stomach.
And
the stomach is the bad part.
Not only the stomach grows, but her jaw unhinges like an anaconda.
Yeah,
and just like
it sure
a
does.
dog jumps into her open gob. Like her gob is just, it's gross. This was another one where it was very clearly like cut away to Statler and Waldorf to change out some puppets and make the old lady get a bigger stomach. And I don't...
And they've done better shadow puppets on the Muppet Show before when they had the guest puppeteer.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it was like a lesser version of the thing we've seen. Because, that one was really impressive when they had like, I don't know, like a hippo or whatever, like walking a tightrope. Made you believe it. Whereas like this was very clearly paper cutouts jumping towards other paper cutouts.
I think my problem also with it is that this is a very long song.
Yeah, it is.
You know exactly how long it's going to be because everybody knows the song, and also they have to go back through everything every time. So there is it's easy to forecast how long you're going to be watching this thing for, and that is not a good aspect of it.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to what we'll talk about later, the Send in the Clowns number, where you're just like, oh, this is, sit back, get ready for this one. It's going to be on for a while. Or at least the Zero Mostel thing caught you off guard with how long it was. You're like, this is going on a little long, but by that time, you're almost done with it.
And that one's more like, what the fuck is happening and what's going to happen? I don't really care, but also this is very strange. And he has a knife.
He is stabbing the hell out of some of those turkeys.
Yeah. And you know what? On that point, you never know what's going to have a human hand in it when you're on the Muppet Show. You can't just go stabbing anything you want to.
Yeah, that turkey could easily be a puppet. There's a lot of unsafe workplace practices happening this week on the Muppet Show. Lots of open flames,
really
lots
is.
of random stabbings. Yeah. We get a short, speaking of open flames, we get a brief Muppet news flash where the newsman's paper just goes up in smoke immediately as soon as he starts to read it.
And he goes, we have a news flash here. There it was after it explodes. I like that.
We then get a sexy 70s Link Hogthrob singing to the trees in his...
I like that outfit he's wearing.
Yeah, very like leisure suit, ascot looking Link Hogthrob. Yeah. Like this is definitely Link Hogthrob when he's not on set for Pigs in Space.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's singing I Talk to the Trees. And the trees all decide that we're going to go. We don't actually want to talk to you.
I like Link Hogthrob's ears a lot. I think they're very cool looking.
Yeah, they're a little like weirdly placed from where you might expect them to be.
They're like Vulcan ears. They're like Mr. Spock ears.
Yeah, like if I asked you to draw Link Hogthrob from memory, you might not put his ears there, and you might not have them be as pointy.
No, but they're good. He's like another one of those like the Jug Band puppets. He's another one of those like very prolific Muppets who's not famous at all, and nobody would know who he was in a million years.
Yeah, he's like that like C tier Muppet that people are like, hey, I know that guy. What's his name? Yeah. I don't know.
But I think the opera skit really endeared him to me. Like I can see the point of him now.
Yeah, they're starting to use him in better ways than they have in the past, which is like just Pigs in Space. Then we get a Coosbane sketch, which I think is great. I love it.
Yeah, I thought this was a good one too. The Coosbane ones have been pretty good.
Yeah, Kermit is there interviewing a Coosbanian foob. who is apparently a very delicious creature who gets eaten very, very often. And so they evolved a defense mechanism, which is they evolve very, very quickly to look like things near them. And throughout this sketch, as we cut back to Kermit and cut back to the Foob, the Foob is starting to look more and more like Kermit, first turning from blue to green fur, and then turning from green furred into a frog-like thing with Foob eyes, and then just ends up straightening up, like, just looks exactly like Kermit at the end of this.
He evolves himself a little trench coat.
Yeah. And I think, one, it's great that, like, that concept, but also seeing Jerry Nelson's, like, version of Kermit.
Fake Kermit voice.
Yeah. Which we also get a little bit, we get Richard Hunt's Kermit voice in the Vision USA thing that we watched, the little behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's doing a Kermit impression. And so it's interesting to see that, like, all of the puppeteers had, like, impressions of each other's characters. But yeah, I liked at the end of that where they're wrestling around and Kermit's yelling to the camera, like, folks, I am the real Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, he's stuck in a thing situation.
Yeah. I feel like we should have
We're going to have to kill one of them.
I'm imagining now, like, a Foob sketch where it transforms into Kermit and then, like, Rolf or Fozzie comes out and the Foob starts to, like, transition in, like, an Animorphs way from Kermit into Fozzie. And we get this weird... Cool. I guess that would just be their dad from Great Bug.
That's their dad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That already exists.
Yeah, I thought this would come up again at the end. I thought there'd be two Kermits, maybe.
Yeah, like, he comes out to, like, sign off the show and Kermit has to come out and kill him to take over.
Yeah.
And then the UK spot in this episode, I really enjoyed. It's really weird, but it's
really weird.
Sam Eagle comes out to sit with Statler and talk to him about basically the show. He again wants it to be
being a classy gentleman.
Yeah.
Why is Statler even there in the first place?
Yeah, like, why do you, like, sully yourself with coming to watch this degrading show? And during this, Waldorf is hanging over the balcony, nearly
About
dying.
to fall to, not his death. I think he'd only fall like a story. He'd probably be okay.
He's a very old, fragile man.
That's true. The good part of this is Sam and Statler talking to each other. Because their conversation is interesting. It's like, gives you a little insight into why he is there and, like, what he's all about with a different character they normally talk to. But the thing with Waldorf hanging is such a weird, like, stretch. I don't really know why they are even doing it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, but it is weird because he's, like, slowly trying to climb up the balcony as well. And so he's, like, got his leg up to the side and he's, like, trying to spider up it a little bit. And you start to, like, feel sadder for him as it goes on.
How do they not notice him screaming?
Yeah. But yeah, it does end with him just falling, presumably to his death.
Yeah, he dies. Yeah. He's dead.
Then we get Judy Collins and Rolf singing Do Re Mi, just dueling pianos style, sitting across from each other.
Yeah, I like them comparing the ways that they warm up to play piano. And she does her exercises and he chases cars.
Yeah. I always like when Rolf reminds us that he is just a dog.
He is the most animal-like of all of the Muppets who aren't just straight up animals.
Right, like
he's the most in touch with that part of himself still.
Yeah, like we occasionally get to see Kermit eat a fly, but he always seems a little embarrassed, like after he's done it.
It seems weird when he eats flies. Yeah, exactly. Like he's not supposed to be doing it. It's like a holdover from his animalistic origins.
Yeah.
But Rolf is very proud of being a dog.
Yes. Whereas Kermit's like, it's a compulsion that he can't control.
Yeah.
Next, we have an interestingly laid out Swedish Chef sketch where the Swedish Chef starts preparing a salad by shooting lettuce, and he's throwing the food up into the air, shooting it, and it comes down as shredded lettuce. He throws a cabbage up, comes down as Brussels sprouts. But in the middle of this sketch, we cut back to backstage and have like a scene with Kermit and Scooter and JP Gross talking about the tearing down of the theater, but you still hear the Swedish Chef music like playing in the background.
I thought that was cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you get like this, you get to like imagine what's happening with the sketch while we're not watching it.
Yeah.
And like fill in those gaps for like however you imagine it. And that's an interesting way to do it because at first I was like, what's happening? Why do we still hear that music? I thought the sketch was over. But then we cut back and we get a very good shot of a coconut hitting the Swedish Chef on the head and knocking him out cold.
And a very good shot of Scooter deciding that he will help his uncle tear down the Muppet Theater, pulling a hammer out and just starting wailing on stuff.
Yeah, when you mentioned earlier he's a little rat because he does. He's his concern. Kermit plays to Scooter's personality, saying that like, if he tears down this theater, you won't have a job anymore. And Scooter's like, shit, I gotta go talk to him. And then he talks to his uncle, and his uncle's like, I'll give you a job running the junkyard. And he's like, oh, okay, fine. It's a little 14-year-old weasel.
He is. He would be into cryptocurrency nowadays, I think.
If there is any Muppet that would be into crypto, it would be Scooter.
Yeah. And he would ruin his life.
Oh, yeah.
He would lose all his money instantly.
Yeah, as we find out in the 2015 series, he does live with his mom, and I think he would not only lose all of his money, but he would also lose his mom's money in a terrible crypto scheme. Ooh,
and he'd have to continue.
Ooh, figured it out.
Okay,
You know what's gonna happen?
Okay, what?
Which character is best for this? Rizzo, or
Uh-huh.
Rizzo and Pepé, make their own digital currency.
Oh, crypto.
And they get
yes.
Scooter to invest.
Uh-huh.
In what is it called? What's it called?
I don't think we're gonna get there because it's got to be something great.
Pizzo? I'm trying to combine their names.
No. I wish we could think of it.
But yeah, I think
Because Pepe would think of the name and the name would be hilarious.
Yes,
whatever it was.
But I think if Muppets ABC series was still airing today, Pepe and Rizzo would invent some digital currency or be selling NFTs or something, and they would get Scooter to invest all of his money he had.
And he'd have to keep being a gopher forever.
Yep. Oh.
To make his money.
Man, hire us, Muppets.
We're gonna write a spec script for a show that was canceled 5 years ago.
And then this episode ends with "Send in the Clowns." The song.
And you know what?
What?
It's so hacky to be like, clowns are scary. These clowns are fucking scary.
These clowns got big old beaker faces. They got big old beaker eyes and noses. And it's almost made creepier by the fact that it's just a straightforward dance number that's not really supposed to be funny.
No. And they're not dancing in time to the music or anything like that either. They're just flailing around.
It's sort of like an interpretive clown dance.
Yeah.
Judy Collins is singing "Send in the Clowns" very straightforward and like heartfelt to the camera. And in the background behind her, these three clowns are dancing around, and it's very weird. And at first I thought it was going to be funny. Like she's singing "Send in the Clowns," and when she says "Where are the clowns?" one clown is like running in from off stage waving like, "Hey, right here." And I thought it was going to be a sketch of like these clowns trying to get her attention through like sillier and sillier ways when she's saying "Where are the clowns?"
Oh, yeah.
But that's not what it is. It's just like interpretive, serious dance clowns behind very serious Judy Collins.
It's a total miss, basically. And I think there could have been a fun version of this too, where like there's a bunch of Muppets in the background or something, and she's like singing at a club or something, I don't know. And then like slowly they're like applying clown pieces to all the Muppets or something like that. They're slowly turning into clowns. I don't know. There's a million different ways they could have gone with this, but like this was not the right way at all. Not even very good clowns, I don't think either. They're not funny at all.
And I feel like you could do them, this would be probably creepier, but if you made their faces a little bit more serious and less like outright Muppety.
Yeah,
I would
make them sad clowns.
Yeah, like I feel like this would be less confusing as far as the tone is concerned.
Or they're like sad clowns and they're like screwing up the shenanigans they're trying to do or something.
Yeah, I just didn't.
They should have been
get it.
creepy. If they had been creepier, it actually would have been more of a tonal match. But yeah.
I think this song also is just like ruined for me because of that frickin' Joker movie.
I don't remember that movie well enough. Is there a Send in the Clowns part?
It's the moment basically that sets him off before he starts his murderous rampage. He's on the subway dressed up as a clown because he's got his job.
Oh, and they sing the song to him.
And these three 25-year-old stockbroker guys start mocking him by singing every lyric to Send in the Clowns that they just happen to know off the top of their head.
Okay, wait a minute, though, now. I've always thought the same thing you did. Like, why do they know this? But that movie's probably set around 1976 or 7, right?
But
so
still, it's
she would have had
the
a big hit
weirdest
with this
way
just now.
to, like, bully someone is to start singing this song at them.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you get it? You're a clown. I'm singing this to you. And we're going to punch you in the freaking face in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I guess so. I've wiped that movie from my memory.
That's probably for the best.
There's one cool part in that movie, I think, when he's in his apartment and his face is just white and he kills that big guy and then he lets the little guy go. You remember that part? Yep. I like that part a lot. I think if he had just kept his face white, that would have been cool, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, the rest of the movie sucks.
it's really bad, yeah. And this episode kind of sucks.
It kind of
too.
did, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, because like I feel like everything that's not Judy Collins works pretty well, but Judy Collins is in a
Actually, I think
lot of the episode.
I think when she's interacting more with them, like in the first song with Rolf, and then at the end, I like when they're all falling down the hole in the stage. I think she sells that really well when she like looks concerned and she's looking down at them. I feel like there was something they could have done with her more than what they did.
I wish they would have given her more like backstage interacting,
Yeah.
like cheering up a Muppet kind of elements, as opposed to just like performing
Yeah.
without Muppets towards the camera.
Yeah,
Because she should
have sang "Send in the Clowns" to Fozzie or something,
Right,
Because
'cause
he
she
just screwed
doesn't-
up a clown act or something.
Yeah, because whenever she performs, even the ones she's performing with Muppets around, she's not performing with any of like our known Muppets.
Yeah,
And so it's
Right.
weird that she's not really interacting with the cast at all, aside from that one number with Rolf and the very, very beginning and the very, very end.
yeah. Also, Muppets eat each other all the time. They didn't have to do a shadow puppet eating shadows. They could have done a real Muppet eating horse Muppets and stuff, and that would have been cooler.
They could have had like lunch encounter monster dressed up as an old lady
Yeah,
and just like start shoving puppets into her mouth.
or Behemoth or something.
Yeah.
Somebody with a big mouth, or Sweetums. He would have been a good duet with her, like singing those parts.
Yeah, I don't think we saw
Anyway.
Sweetums at all in this batch.
He's only in the beginning, and I noticed, you should look at this next time, and everybody listening as well. He looks weird in the opening.
He's got big bug eyes in the
Why?
opening theme song. I don't know, but they look off.
Yeah, it's like he's like the stunt Sweetums or something like that.
Yeah, it's like early Snuffleupagus as well, when he's just got these
Yeah.
giant, wide open. I think his pupils are maybe too small. Is maybe what makes him look a little beady-eyed.
Huh.
But yeah,
Weird.
very, very weird looking Sweetums in the opening.
And Sweetums is our Muppet of the Week. No, he's not. We already did him.
Yep, this week we have 2 Muppets of the Week. This week's Muppets of the Week are Bunsen and Beaker, another duo that I wouldn't dare to separate,
Well, a duo that didn't exist as a duo originally, though.
which is interesting, yeah. We have Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, and then just Beaker. No more given name.
He doesn't get a last name?
Not that
Or even maybe a first name?
No, yeah, we don't know if Beaker is first or last name. Maybe he's just like Cher. It's just Beaker. But yeah, you know Bunsen and Beaker because they've become 2 of the most famous Muppets at this point. But
Yep.
Bunsen Honeydew is the round, green-headed scientist with the little glasses and no eyeballs. And Beaker is the tall, skinny, red-haired, big-nosed, often punished lab assistant. I'm going to start this off because, much like real people, I don't like to assume a Muppet's sexual orientation. But there is a whole page on Muppet Wiki about Bunsen and Beaker's relationship and what it could or could not be. And some of them are pretty like innocuous things, like Bunsen calling Beaker attractive in one sketch, or Bunsen calling Beaker beaky a lot, and sometimes beaky
Oh,
poo.
that's cute.
And apparently Beaker also has a framed photo of Bunsen on his desk in a music video they released in 2010. And then maybe the most explicit things we've seen so far that sort of like hints at a more romantic relationship between the two is that in the 2015 ABC series, after a night out, there's a very good episode called Pig Out where they all get drunk and go out to karaoke, and it's great. And the 2 sing I Got You, Babe with each other at the bar.
Oh,
And then the next morning, they're hungover at work. And they are wearing each other's clothes. And Kermit asks them, like, hey, why are you wearing each other's clothes? And Beaker goes to give an answer, and Bunsen stops him and says, if it happens outside of work, we don't owe him an explanation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And apparently, in the Muppets Take the O2 live show, at one point, Beaker does something good, and Bunsen praises him and gives him a little kiss on the cheek. But yeah, if they are in a relationship, I hope Beaker has, consented to all of the terrible things that
Yeah.
happened to him from his
I think he
possible boyfriend.
understands that it's work, and somebody has to test these things out.
But they, as you mentioned, they did debut not together, not as a duo. Bunsen debuted in 1976 in the first season of The Muppet Show. His first production episode was the Paul Williams episode. And then Beaker debuted in the Zero Mostel episode, as we alluded to earlier, in 1977. So only a year apart, but I would say, based on their first season watch, Beaker was sorely missed during those episodes.
Yeah.
As far as performers go, Bunsen Honeydew has been performed by Dave Goelz pretty much since day one in 1976 up until today, because Dave Goelz is still alive. And there was only one time that I could find that Bill Beretta performed Bunsen Honeydew on Muppets Tonight, and I don't know if he did the voice as well or just had to puppeteer him, but only other one example I could find of Bunsen not being performed by Dave Goelz. And then Beaker was originally performed by Richard Hunt from 1977 until his death in 1991. And then after that, Steve Whitmire took over from 1992 until 2016, at which time David Rudman, who is now like Scooter and Janice and some other like Richard Hunt characters, took over and has been doing Beaker ever since 2017. And there was also a couple times where Beaker was played by somebody else. Kevin Clash once played him in 2001, and Peter Linz performed him in 2019. They don't have any really known family that I could track down. I think at one point, I feel like we see Bunsen's mom or somebody, but I had trouble finding.
I was going to say, I feel like we've seen Bunsen in a gray wig before.
I had that same recollection, but I had trouble tracking that down on Muppet Wiki when I was looking for their family information. I did find that Beaker doesn't have any on-screen Muppet family, but there's an episode of Monday Night Raw, WWE, where he runs into the wrestler Sheamus, who, if you've never seen the wrestler Sheamus, he's a very, very pale Irish man with straight-up spiky red hair. And so Sheamus says to Beaker that he's sorry he can't make the family reunion, but reminds Beaker to tell Aunt Teresa hello.
That's cute. So his confirmed relative is Sheamus the wrestler.
Yep.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about that episode of WWE Raw, because it's absolutely wild, and the Muppets are guest hosting the entire episode, I was on the Maximum Fun podcast, Tights and Fights, talking all about that episode a little while ago, so you can go find that episode.
That's fine. I didn't want to be on that one episode anyway, so.
You don't know anything about wrestling, Sam.
I do. I could read that book.
Then we'll get you on Tights and Fights once you read the book.
Great.
And other fun little facts about Bunsen and Beaker. We should be seeing them in Lego form soon. There is some confirmed / not confirmed whatever Lego leaks coming out.
Some hot Lego leaks.
Yeah, that we're supposed to be getting a collectible minifigure series of Muppet characters coming out this year or next year. And Bunsen and Beaker are obviously going to be included in that. In 2008, Beaker won a Webby Award for his Ode to Joy music video. Uh-oh. Good job. And in 2004, there was a poll sponsored by the BBC and the British Association for the Advancement of Science. And in that poll, Beaker and Bunsen Honeydew were voted Britain's favorite cinematic scientists.
What? That's really weird. Doesn't Doctor Who count in that, I would feel like?
Well, so they beat Mr. Spock, their closest rival, by a margin of 2-1.
Wow.
They won 33% of the votes.
That's amazing. Good for them.
Yeah. So apparently they are Britain's favorite cinematic scientists. But yeah, that's all the information I could find about Bunsen and Beaker, surprisingly. They are around forever. They show up in literally everything that we watch from here on out. They will be there in some way, usually together. But yeah, how would you rank them? Let's go ahead and rank them individually.
Oh, boy. I have conflicted feelings about them, kind of similarly to Animal, where they're so popular that it's hard for me to I would never say Bunsen and Beaker are my favorite Muppets, because that's basic shit, you know? You can't say they're your favorite Muppets. I've always kind of not liked Bunsen. Just something about him. His head, I think.
Is it his lack of eyeballs?
No, I like that. I think that's cool. Well, okay, actually, I'm going to take this all back, because one of my earliest Muppet memories is the part in Muppets Go to Disney World where Beaker gets the bucket stuck on his head. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he has to eat the hot sauce and it blows off the top of his head. I know when I see that, when we watch that, I will probably cry, because it's just, for some reason, so important to me. I'm going to give them, what do I do out of 50?
Out of 5.
No, that's you.
I'm out of 60.
You're
out of 5.
Okay. I'm going to give Bunsen 3 and Beaker 4. Well, I'm going to give them both 4.
All right. I am right there with you as far as I think Beaker is misappropriated at times and turned into the Swedish Chef when we talked about him, where they're making a lot of weird merch with him.
Shirt.
And people like him as their favorite, but for different reasons than I like him. Which,
they can remember his name is probably why.
Well, and he also gets blown up a lot, and he does goofy things, and his head stretches, and he turns into goo or whatever like that. It's okay, yeah, he's a interesting Muppet, but I think Beaker is one of my favorite Muppets because of his puppet.
Yeah, it's a fucking great puppet.
He looks great, and he is one of the most like versatile characters with like the way his head can stretch or sink into his body. Sometimes his eyes light up, steam shoots out of his eyes and like ears and stuff. And I think like the way they use his puppet makes him like one of my favorite Muppets. So yes, if I was going to rate them, which I legally have to on this podcast, Beaker would get a 55.
Okay.
Out of 60. He's definitely one of my favorite Muppet designs and puppets. Personality-wise, a little less so, but I do really enjoy when he pops up to sing a song like "Oh Danny Boy" or "Ode to Joy." And then Bunsen similarly gets a little bit lower of a rating. He's going to be a 42 for me. I love his simple design, but I don't have a lot of love for him outside of that.
Yeah.
He has a good little mouth, though, on that puppet. He looks like a grapefruit that just kind of has a little slit for a mouth. So, yes, 55 and 42, respectively. And now, Sam, I have to ask the question I ask every time. Did you have time to watch any non-Muppet stuff this week?
I feel like I've been on a little bit of a post-Halloween not watching a lot of stuff cleanse. Because I just watched a lot of stuff then. We're watching, the main thing that I'm watching right now is Vampire Diaries.
Ooh.
We're watching it kind of like in book club form. Oh, you don't read books. No, but I watch Vampire Diaries with some friends of ours. So we're watching the series premiere and finales together of all the different seasons and then just watching the middle as we have time for it. It's bad, but I'm really enjoying it. It's like perfect trash TV. Like Pretty Little Liars is another one of my favorite shows because it's just like so stupid and so fun to like try to keep up with how ridiculous. We're in the first season and the plot already makes absolutely no sense, and they've retconned a million things, and like there's like an immortal math teacher who can like get blown up and he's okay because he's got a magic ring and he's not even a vampire, and they just are all in school together, and this immortal math teacher is teaching the vampire like trigonometry, and it's just like, how are these people even functioning right now?
Everything I know about Vampire Diaries comes from a video Jenny Nicholson made on her YouTube channel. It's a 2.5 hour long video.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
I'm not gonna watch it. I like her videos.
You shouldn't watch it because it does spoil literally
spoil
everything
stuff.
of the entire series. But that's
I'm so excited to finish the series and watch that video, though.
It does talk about how wild of a series that truly is.
Yeah, I'm pumped because I've seen she has like a big evidence board behind her or something.
Yes,
and I'm just so
she is following
excited
all
for
of those threads that you talk about, where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this way? Why is this way? And it's like, she tries to make as much sense as possible out of all of that stuff.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah. But I can't watch that one yet. So, but that's what I'm watching, mostly Vampire Diaries.
Similarly, in like a post-Halloween cleanse, I guess, like, have not watched a lot of new stuff. Watching a lot of hockey games.
Oh yeah.
And still,
your tweet last night was funny about how they're shedding the Kraken are shedding their bad fans by sucking so bad.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just getting rid of bandwagon fans by playing like absolute garbage.
Oh no.
They just lost last night to a team that had not yet won a game.
Oh no, ever?
Well, not just this season.
This year. It's not another new team or something?
No, but they had lost their first 11 games of the season. And their first win of the season was against the Kraken.
Well, they're trying to make them feel better.
Yeah, sure. But the only other thing I'm watching really still is The Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on like episode 8 now, and it's okay.
Yeah, there's something so off about it where it's like close to good, but it doesn't know tonally what it wants to be.
It's very clunky, and at times I feel like they should have done like 22 episodes because they seem to just like skip to things as if, I don't know, it doesn't feel like I'm on the ride with them. It feels like they're skipping big chunks of a story or like jumping ahead to things where I'm just like, oh, we're already here? Okay.
Oh, your podcast is famous? I don't know how that happened.
You did 2 episodes, and all of a sudden you're getting mentioned on Jimmy Fallon, and like, so there's a lot happening in that show that just feels very clunky and not paced very well. But I'm enjoying it. It's just like one of those things that I have to accept is like, it's okay. I'm going to like this. I'm not going to rewatch it. That's okay.
I got to tell you, the last episode is pretty good.
Okay. And that's the thing is like, I like it enough that I'm going to keep watching and finish it. But it is definitely not something that I would say you need to rush out and watch if you haven't yet.
I agree totally, yeah.
But that does it for this week's episode. Next week, we'll be diving into some more Muppet Show with some no-name guests, really. I mean, we'll be watching what they're doing between February 6th, 1978 and February 20th, 1978, which means we'll be checking out some Muppet Show episodes that include guests like Elton John, Bob Hope, and Julie Andrews.
Oh, you were fucking with me.
I was.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we are actually going to travel back in time a little bit to watch something that was previously not watchable when we were in the early 70s era of this podcast, but recently showed up on the internet. And hopefully that will happen more as we do this podcast. But this is our first piece of unearthed media that we're going to watch, and that is The Evening at the Pops, a special program with Arthur Fielder and friends from Sesame Street that aired on PBS on September 12th, 1971.
Whoa, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, so we'll take a little step back in the world of Sesame Street and watch this special that we previously it didn't exist. And I'm thankful for sites like Tough Pigs and other Twitter accounts that as soon as something like this shows up on the internet, everyone's like, quick, go watch it before it gets deleted. But before we go, I need to thank our friend Tuna for creating the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at CommitmentPod, where you can find the playlist of things we watch for each episode. And you can also tweet us your finds of things that we can't find, because we actually had this in a previous episode where we talked about the Purple People Eater float that Sam could remember from his childhood. And Carolyn found it and sent it to us on Twitter. They tweeted at us and said, like, hey, I think this is it.
They even time-stamped it. Wow. This is it. At Blitz William. Go follow them because they deserve it. Oh, he's eating there.
Oh my
God.
This is terrifying. It's the Purple People Eater lifting people up out of a school bus.
People are so scared.
And dropping them into his mouth. And they're doing a very good job.
I saw this when I was a child.
Yeah, you would have been like 3 years old. Scarred for life.
Yeah. This is sicko shit. Wow. Thank you so much. This has been haunting my dreams for my entire life.
But yes, if you have anything longer than a tweet you'd like to send us, you can email us at mail@commitment.com, and you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.